You could find AI impressive or you could find AI abhorrent, but you have to admit that AI is cool. Take generative AI for instance. You could write a prompt, get a response in seconds, and use that to move on with your life. Or if you want an AI powered image, you could describe the image you want and an AI tool could give it to you. But what about the output itself? Are the results the best possible one can get? And does it perpetuate some level of prejudice or discrimination if a system far more intelligent than human beings could have that? There have been some reports that some AI tools may rate images of females as more sexually suggestive, maybe when they're pregnant or exercising. This may be an example of gender bias in the algorithms that shape our future. Synthetic PORN has also been emerging, where anyone can create an sexually, an ideal version of a female, thereby playing a role in her dehumanization. One could say it's straight out of Black Mirror. Take AI generated images for example. According to some reports, some images generated overwhelmingly depict males when talking about certain professions, reinforcing the stereotype that some fields like STEM or IT are meant to be male dominated. This could play a role in discouraging women from pursuing careers in science or math or computers if a super intelligent system could suggest they don't really belong there. Or take the case of Amazon, for instance, which created an AI CV reading software. Since Amazon gets thousands of applications daily, it would be really time consuming for a person to go through all of them. So the AI software was fed examples of successful CVs, with the AI being fed which CVs were interview worthy versus which weren't. And what happened was a female CV would be red lit as opposed to a male CV which would be greenlit. According to an AI expert, Amazon tried to solve this bias for 2 years, but the AI couldn't be de-biased, so it had to go. There was also an example of ChatGPT 4 writing output based on SEXIST gender stereotypes while writing a story, with the boy being interested in science and technology, while the girl loved painting and drawing. To be fair to ChatGPT though, there are tons of boys who love science and tech, and tons of girls who like painting and drawing, and vice versa. There's another case where a scientist got a bot to write code to say that only white or Asian men would make good scientists. Or a case where ChatGPT wrote that a woman in a lab coat would be there to clean the floor, but a man in a lab coat has knowledge and skills. But is that a case of bad actors, not bad innovation? There were also reports of successful Indians being searched on Bing Image Creator, and the results all showed men wearing ties and dhotis. Unsure whether this is an improvement, but successful Europeans showed women, and women at work India showed women with utensils. On the other hand, the speed of AI powered video meta analysis could help look at online content to identify bad actors and try to find people who need support and help on the internet. Or take Life Force, an AI meant to provide support to females, mothers, and single mothers after Russia's invasion of Ukraine by matching the demand and supply of aid. Or Poised, an AI meeting assistant that can provide real time metrics on interruptions, filler words, and how much time a person takes to speak, thereby ascertaining how much women interact in a meeting and how much they hesitate. This would also be able to reshape the judgment of contribution from the loudest voice in the room to the most credible idea in the room. So, if AI can do good and proliferate equality and women empowerment, what's the issue? Maybe the data sets. Sure, AI could have responsible and ethical development, but there may still be some biases in its data sets. Data sets are for training and inference, and if the data sets inherently contain biases, the models would reflect them. Take a depression estimation model, for instance, which can be used by healthcare professionals to determine if a person may have the symptoms of depression. If that model has more females than males, or if the sampling is, the results may be skewed for females. Don't like parties? You may have depression, and the rectification of these skewed results must be looked at, especially in places like healthcare, where women happen to be underrepresented. Or an AI meant to reduce hiring bias could do exactly that. Could AI models be trained on a well balanced data set, thereby learning to treat people irrespective of gender, giving males and females equal opportunities? Because fortunately or unfortunately, a lot of AI training may heavily rely on historical databases that may reflect biases. Think of all the biases, not just from 2023, but from 1973 or 1873, embedded in database systems through online libraries with outdated and archaic ideas about gender, race, and sexuality. So, it's important to address and acknowledge AI's limitations and risks. Sure, it can augment creativity and productivity, but it may not be able to replace human judgment. But then again, human judgment could also be filled with bias, prejudice, and discrimination. So, if the training comes from there, what's going to happen? Generative AI is becoming even more of a big deal, with OpenAI's ChatGPT releasing in the second half of 2022. So, AI may be increasingly informing important decisions affecting social, political, and economic rights. That's why it's imperative to ensure that AI systems being built uphold principles of fairness, accountability, and transparency. There could be incomplete, non-standardized, or poorly collected data that could distort reality. Data collected that reflects long-standing social inequalities may perpetuate those very inequalities in the future. So, there could be an approach where developers question and correct the impact of systemic social inequalities. Hopefully, this could mitigate bias. I'm sure everyone's talking about representation and diversity forever, but maybe having that diverse team would make it easier to identify bias. There's also something launched by UNESCO called Women for Ethical AI, where leading female experts from various fields share research, contribute to best practices, and promote non discriminatory algorithms and data sources, while aiming to incentivize the participation of girls, women, and underrepresented groups in AI. That may be a step in the right direction. To be fair, AI is constantly evolving and training, so a generative AI model 5 years from now may be less prejudiced. So, when the being is super intelligent, can we get to a point of no prejudice?